Hello! I didn't see you there. Well, since you're here, might as well enjoy this awesome presentation on Roman weaponry. In this presentation, we will go through all the different weapons that the Romans used in ancient times, and even some of their body armor. Well, let's go! Hyar! This is the gladius, the Latin word for sword. Early ancient Romans swords were similar to the Greeks. From the 3rd century BC, the Romans adopted swords similar to those by the Celtiberians and others during the early part of the conquest of Hispania. The name is from a Latin O-stem noun, its plural being gladii. Gladii were two-edged for cutting and had tapered points for stabbing and thrusting. This is a true Roman fight, as it happened millions of years ago. Thousands of years ago.
I challenge ye!
Yahar! Ye have dishonored my faith! This is the pugio, which was a small Roman dagger soldiers used as a sidearm. It seemed likely that the pugio was intended for an auxiliary or backup weapon, but it found many uses, especially as a utility knife. Officials of the empire were used to wearing ornate daggers with completely specialized and ornamented sheaths. Some would wear the dagger as a defensive weapon, just to protect against enemies that got close to them. The dagger was a common weapon of the assassination and the suicide. For example, the conspirators who stabbed Julius Caesar used the pugiones. The word pugio descends from the Indo word root meaning a peg, meaning stab or stick.
I wonder what's for breakfast.
I have stabbed you with my pugio. This is the hosta, meaning spear. Hostae were carried by early Roman legionaries, and particularly they were carried by and gave their name to the Romans known as the hostati. However, during the Republican times, the hostati were rearmed with pila and gladii. The hosta was the only retained by the triarii. This spear was used for thrusting and stabbing, not for throwing. A hosta was about 6 1/2 from ash, while the head was made of iron.
High school. Mom?
This is the contus. From Greek kontos, adapted by Romans, the kontos was about 4 meters long and was a cavalry lance ridden on horses. Check out this awesome video of it in use. I shall stab thee! This is the pilum, the ancient Roman javelin. Overall, it was 2 meters long and consisting of an iron shank that was 7 meters in diameter. And it had a pyramidal head 60 centimeters long to stab and was weighted between 4 and 11 pounds for throwing. Its maximum range was about 98 feet, but usually was only effective between 50 and 65 feet. Yeah!
This is Rome! Rome! God.
The ballista was a small ancient Roman catapult that eventually developed into a sniper weapon called the Scorpio. The early Roman ballistae were made of wood held together with iron plates around the frames and bolted in with iron nails. The main shaft had a slider on top into which were loaded bolts or stone shocks. The ballista was a highly accurate weapon, and there are many accounts of single soldiers being taken out by ballista operators. The maximum range was over 500 yards, but whereas only effective combat range was far shorter for most ballista operators. Please enjoy this crudely drawn flash animation of a ballista operator and his ballista. Now we're going into Roman armor for defense. The lorica segmenta was a type of armor used in the Roman Empire, but the Latin name wasn't first used until the 16th century. Consisting of long strips of iron, these strips were organized horizontally across the body, overlapping downwards as they surrounded in two halves, being fastened at the front and the back. The form of the armor allowed it to be stored very compactly, since it was possible to separate into 4 sections. Nothing